Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day and that you had a marvelous evening as well. We've got lots of news to go over today. First of all, we're going to look at some updates on Twitter. We've got some interesting information about Twitter analytics that I think you're going to want to take a look at. Perhaps a little bit of insight as to how they do or do not choose their trending information. Also, it looks like Kathy Griffin is the latest celebrity who may or may not have become stricken with the malady affecting a good portion of the world right now. And remember yesterday I talked about the DOJ taking seriously the idea of spreading this sickness. Well, a Missouri man who was caught licking stuff in Walmart has been charged with a major crime. And the all-American company MyPillow has now begun producing masks under the act that President Trump activated just a few days ago. We talk about Joe Biden having an off-the-record conversation with the foreign leader, which it sounds like is a violation of the Logan Act. And also, Ryan Reynolds gives us a much-needed bit of humor in this very serious time. Plus, we've got a follow-up to that National Guard story from yesterday. You guys, you're not going to want to miss it. Please, everyone, do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Stephen King once wrote, "Panic is highly contagious, especially in situations when nothing is known and everything is in flux." Well, the world we live in today is in flux, and it's filled with a flood of information that's often as much gossip as fact. Now, that makes it hard to know what the situation really is, and it also makes it easy for people to panic and make bad decisions. The only way not to get caught up in that chaos is to have a plan allowing you to avoid dealing with empty store shelves, long lines, and in the worst case, desperate people. Use today to prepare. A great place to start is storing food in your home, and I'm prepared myself, and I even ordered more recently. Now, the experts at My Patriot Supply have told me that orders have now reached about 100 times the normal volume, and they're shipping on a first-come, first-served basis. With this unprecedented emergency, orders are being delayed, sometimes 8 weeks or more. I urge you to add your order to mine today, because the sooner you order, the sooner you can get your purchase. Take action so you're ready for what's coming and save $70 on a 2-week emergency food kit when you go to my special website, preparewithredpill78.com. Those that know what's coming are preparing today. Go to preparewithredpill78.com. Once again, that's preparewithredpill78.com. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today, we're going to talk about this tweet from Enoch here. He says 2 different hashtags. One trended on Twitter today. This was on the 25th, which was hashtag Trump press conference. One did not trend on Twitter, and that was hashtag In It Together. Compare the numbers. Now, In It Together was this meme right here, which myself and tens of thousands of other anons took part in posting, many of us at 1717 on the 25th. Let's go ahead and take a look at these numbers here. So this was the trending hashtag here, hashtag Trump press conference. And you can see that based on per hour, we had just over 500 tweets per hour. Well, right here at the moment that we posted it at 5:17, we had almost, looks like about 13 to 14,000 tweets. And even at our lowest point, we still had far more than this hashtag right here. So it's just an excellent example of how the censorship algorithm works on these platforms. We clearly should have been trending at the levels this was being posted, and this was trending, and it had just a small percentage of the same number of tweets. So just something to keep an eye on. It really makes you wonder how many other hashtags should be trending, but they're not because they are being suppressed. All right, now I thought this was an interesting tweet here from Julian's Rum. He says, "What do you see when you flip the image? I see the 17th letter of the alphabet and a veiled threat." Let's take a look at the original tweet. It was from Barry. It says, "Here's a useful overview of the likely scenario that the world will be facing in the coming months while managing this pandemic. So much depends on our ability to make good decisions going forward, along with our ability to remain resilient." Who is he speaking to right there? Let's go ahead and take a look at the image he originally posted. You've got, looks like the White House down here, and then you've got 2 pieces of the virus right there, and then a hypodermic needle being held by a person. Now, what Julian is referring to is if you go ahead and flip that image, it clearly does look like the 17th letter of the alphabet, and it makes you wonder who exactly is Barry speaking to here in this tweet. All right, so we got a couple of new posts to the board today as well. Methods and I went over them in depth on my 2 p.m. video, Quarantine with RP and M3. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But we had a post from Education for Libs. It included a great video by Paine's Angels. We've also got this post right here, which details treason, sedition, and subversive activities. Now, this is an article regarding the suspension of habeas corpus, which the DOJ has just recently asked for in regards to this threat that we're facing here in the United States right now. It would allow for the DOJ to hold people indefinitely until the courts open up again, or until perhaps they can get them down to Guantanamo Bay. But treason, misprision of treason, rebellion, insurrection, all of these basically detail the laws that were broken during this coup that was attempted over the last several years. Then we have this redrop of the Patriot versus Traitor post. Then we have a reminder that our favorite Anon only communicates with us through 8kun. Formerly it was 4chan, then it was 8chan, now only on 8kun. And they use the trip code so that we can verify that it's them posting. Sometimes the team has posted without the trip code, but those posts themselves are up to your own discretion to decide if you feel that they're correct or that they're actually officially from the team. But the most important part here is that there are no private comms, past, present, or future. No comms made outside of this platform. Now, this post was originally meant to target AJ. I'm sure you guys know who that is. Last name Jones, first name begins with an A. But recently, there has been people that have tried to infiltrate this movement, trying to say that they are the people communicating on this board with us using that trip code. However, they are clearly not. And I do believe that this is a direct call out saying that there are no comms that are made outside of this. So if there's anybody out there telling you that they are part of this team or that they are the individual in question behind it, they are trying to lie to you. And infiltration instead of invasion, that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to infiltrate this movement. They can't destroy it outright, so they want to go ahead and take it over. And for people who are new, people who are looking for some type of leadership in what is essentially a leaderless movement, that is where the danger lies. So please, you guys, do pay attention here. I'm not trying to steer you wrong, and I'm not trying to tell you that I know anything more than you do. All I'm doing is following the drops, and I'm following the posts, and this is how I take it. And I think that the majority of Anons and people who are involved in this movement also feel the exact same way. Okay, so remember the video yesterday of the girl at the shopping center who ran into a National Guard member. She was told to trust the plan. She got one of these, and it was a very auspicious meeting. Gave her a lot of hope. It gave me a lot of hope. Well, yesterday I received an email from an anonymous person who told me that they can confirm this story is actually true. Now, is this a real source? Is this somebody who actually works with this individual? Is it someone who knows this girl? There was additional communication between myself and that person. Let me just say that I do believe that person that was messaging me, and I believe that we are seeing what is potentially the most important moment in our nation's history, perhaps the world's history. Now, as a little more background on what she saw, there have been reports, as I said yesterday, of armored vehicles, tanks, all kinds of military activity across the United States. Not the type of thing that you think you would see if this was only a response to a virus. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video clip right here from this guy on Twitter, Jamie G. All right, we're going to listen without the sound because it is just a bunch of noise from the train, but you can clearly see these are some big armored vehicles. I don't even know what you'd call them, but this does not look like the adequate response to simply people being sick. This looks like some major military activity here on our nation's shores. So there's a couple of different reasons why that would be. Either they're expecting an attack from someone else, or they are going to need it because there's going to be some major activities that take place here. And I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. With over 150,000 sealed indictments still sitting there, yet to be unsealed, it would be very necessary to attack this with equal force to the number of indictments that exist. I think that this is what we're looking at here, and we're going to take a look at some additional clips. Okay, now yet another video from the same account, and I don't know if this was at the same railroad or if this was from a different person, but actually that vehicle right there looks like those vehicles right there. So I think that this is on the same track. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what these guys look like. Now, anybody out there, servicemen and women, if you guys know what types of vehicles these are and what they are normally used for, I would so appreciate if you could reach out to me and let me know. But these are obviously a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit more tactical. A couple of different vehicles right there. And then here's some additional ones. These look like some snowmobiles, or almost, I don't know, maybe some bikes, maybe just some big artillery. But very, very interesting. Let's take a look at another one. All right, here is another image from someone else. It looks like this is also in California. It looked like it was in the LA area. This very well could be that first armored vehicle that we saw, some kind of tank. Very, very cool. And now right here, this is from former NHL player Dustin Penner, who hopefully is going to be on the program very, very soon. So this is from LA too. These look like they could be the same vehicles that we saw in the last photo, but just in video form. Anybody out there who knows what these are, please do send me an email. I'm very interested to know what kind of vehicles these are, what these normally are used for, and why they would be here on American soil. Is this a normal thing? Do we normally see these guys going around? It seems like there has been so much activity recently. It seems like we are seeing just so much happening that we normally don't see. Obviously, it's not that unusual to see armored vehicles being carried from one place to the next, but there seems to be a preponderance of them. So anybody out there who's watching, thank you so much for your service, and thank you for everything you're doing to set this country free. All right, and here is some more video, this time rolling through Sacramento, and it says National Guard rolling through after deployment orders to assist with CV response. Now, apparently, there's going to be over 1,500 troops that will be mobilized at the border to assist with what's taking place. So, again, this is some different military vehicles. Let's go ahead and take a look at these ones. These ones with the Red Cross on a couple of them. Slightly different vehicles. These would be just ones that would go on a regular road. So obviously these ones look like what you would expect to see as mobilized for health reasons, but also to secure the border and make sure that people are not coming over, because you never know. We've already had people that have been caught trying to sneak over the border who were infected with one thing or another. So this one looks pretty standard. But again, guys, I'd love to hear from you. Now, here is an interesting post. This looks like a comment from YouTube. This was posted to Joe M's tweet in regard to one of the posts that came up earlier today. But it says, I believe the arrests have started in California. I live in Calabasas, about 10 minutes from Malibu, and across the street from where Pkwy crashed. This morning, a very large military copter flew over our house and landed at the sheriff's station a block away. Tonight, the neighbors were all reporting that there were 5 military tanks in our neighborhood, with several sheriffs making arrests. Just wanted to let you know it started. God bless all patriots. Where we go one, we go all. I would love to hear from anybody in California. If you can verify the veracity of this post, this would be very interesting. Certainly a strange thing to see tanks on the street, and I would imagine that somebody living in that neighborhood would know the difference between a tank and some other type of vehicle on wheels. So I'm looking to get some confirmation on this if anybody has anything. And in regards to what's going on in L.A., it looks like the L.A. County supervisors are seeking to remove Sheriff Villanueva as head of emergency operations during this emergency that we're experiencing right now. Now, he's saying that this is in response to his order to close any GUN shops during the pandemic, saying that they're non-essential businesses. But clearly, the reason people are swamping these places is because they are essential businesses, and people understand that having protection in a time of uncertainty is something that you want for you and your family. So, interesting story, and we'll go ahead and keep an eye on it as it develops. All right, and next, Kathy Griffin is the latest celebrity to be hospitalized with unbearably painful symptoms. And of course, she blames President Trump, and wouldn't you know it? Now, she was hospitalized on Wednesday with those unbearably painful symptoms, and she clearly blamed President Trump. The washed-up comedian posted a photo of herself in the hospital wearing a face mask and accusing President Trump of lying about the CV pandemic. Another one of these mainstream media stooges trying to stir up fear and distrust here in America. He was lying. I was sent to the CV-19 isolation ward room in a major hospital ER from a separate urgent care facility after showing unbearably painful symptoms. The hospital couldn't test me for CV because of the CDC's restrictions, Kathy Griffin said in a tweet. Now, she attached 2 photos of herself to the tweet. One photo is of her face, gasp, and the other showed her cushy hospital room equipped with a flat-screen TV. Here she is right here. Let's go ahead and get a look at Kathy close up. Yeah, she sure looks sick, doesn't she? Well, again, there is no lies that are being told about this. Just because she's sick and is in a little bit of pain doesn't mean that the president had somehow lied about what's going on here. She should get that medicine, and then I'm sure she's going to be okay. But yet another celebrity that we can add to the list. That is, if she actually is tested. Now, what's important here is that the restrictions that have been placed are that they have to have certain symptoms. They also have to have been able to show that they've been in contact with somebody else that could have this sickness. So if Kathy doesn't have those things, then it makes sense that they're not going to waste a test on her. I tend to think that this is all for attention and that she's simply trying to just sow some discontent here in America and distrust in the president, his administration, and in the task force. All right, this is so awesome. So today on Quarantine, Methods and I went over the posts. We talked about a bunch of different things in the news other than what we're talking about here in this show. And we were making this joke about how excited I was getting prepped for it and going over the new posts. And so I said, somebody meme me with lightning coming out of my hands, and Constitution First Amendment did just that. So let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, let's get me out of here for just a second. Watch it again. Oh, so sweet. Thank you, Constitution First Amendment. The storm is here. All right, so excellent news here. There was this Missouri man who was filmed licking merchandise at Walmart. Well, he's been charged with a terror threat, much along the same lines of the news I gave yesterday that the DOJ was going after people hardcore if they were trying to spread this. So his name is Cody Pfister. He's a 26-year-old, and he asked who's afraid of CV-19 before he ran his tongue over several items at Walmart in Warrenton, Missouri. Let's go ahead and take a look at this fool.
Who's scared of virus? Don't touch your mouth.
Absolute idiot. Complete and utter fool. And this kid has just destroyed his life for the foreseeable future. Now, the Warrenton Police Department received many phone calls about this incident after the video went viral, and it angered people across the world. Pfister ended up being booked into the Warren County Jail without bond. He has previous convictions for burglary, theft of a fire alarm, drug possession, and driving while intoxicated. So, looks like he's right back where he belongs. Now, just recently, presidential candidate Joe Biden admitted during an interview with NBC News that he has spoken with a foreign leader 2 weeks ago, which might be a violation of the Logan Act. But Gateway Pundit suggests that it's time to open up an FBI counterintelligence investigation on him and get some FISA warrants on him and his associates. I mean, that's how we do it in this country, isn't it? Well, he admitted this during an interview with NBC. He didn't say exactly who it was, but he said, with regard to speaking to foreign leaders, I haven't spoke with a foreign leader in the last probably 2 weeks. He was pressed for more details, and they asked, who was the last foreign leader you spoke with, and did you talk about CV-19? And then he clammed up. He said, I talked about how it affected the country country, but no, I'm not gonna. It was an off-the-record discussion that I had, so I'm not going to indicate who. Well, very interesting who it could have been. Perhaps it was China, perhaps it was Iran, maybe even perhaps someone in the UK. You never know. But Tom Fitton is out there talking about it, and he said the same thing I did. Logan Act. I want Joe Biden to pay for his crimes. And finally today, a bit of humor. Ryan Reynolds has released a hilarious video mocking celebrities and their response to the CV-19. Ryan Reynolds is a good guy. I like him. I've liked all of his movies. I'm a big fan of Deadpool, obviously. And I think that he's got the right idea about this. Essentially, he just lampoons celebrities and their self-important videos and imagining their place in the world and how the response to this pandemic should be treated. So let's go ahead and take a listen to the clip because it's pretty funny.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister Trudeau. We need to work together to flatten the curve and fight off COVID-19. I think in times of crisis, I think we all know that it's the celebrities that we count on most. They're the ones who are going to get us through this. Right after healthcare workers, of course, first responders, people who work in essential services, ping pong players, mannequins, they're great. Childhood imaginary friends, sure. Like 400 other types of people. Look, stay at home.
So clearly Ryan Reynolds has the right idea. Celebrities are pretty low on the totem pole in terms of who is going to keep us safe in this trying time that we're in right now. So thank you, Ryan Reynolds. Appreciate the humor. All right, guys, I don't know about you, but every single day that goes by, I am feeling better and better about the situation we're in. Yes, the country is at a standstill, but I know that that is not a permanent development. I see things taking place across this country that can only point to one thing, and I see the elite and their fear and the things that they will do to try to subvert this movement and take it over. Just because somebody posts something with some WikiLeaks on a board does not mean that they are a military or government insider, or doesn't mean that they're not a bad actor from a different agency trying to subvert the movement. Think about it. Occam's razor. What is the simpler explanation? Is it more likely that someone from the future would send themselves a message telling them to post messages on the board and make videos claiming to be behind that trip code, and then confuse us by posting something which says that there are no outside comms? Or is it more likely that someone from a rival intelligence agency would be interested in subverting this movement from the inside in order to destroy the unity that we have created over the last couple of years? Ask yourself, and you tell me what your answer is. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, one more thing. It's Red Pill. I just want to say thank you once again to everybody that has helped to support the channel. If you'd like to get involved, you can go ahead and check the show notes in the pinned comment and the description. There's always good information in there. I've got a couple of backup channels. I ask that you go ahead and subscribe to them because if anything does happen here, I will start publishing there. And if you want things like merchandise or anything else, there is a bunch of information that you can find right below this video. All right, guys, thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.